Welcome to another wonderful episode of Black Wakanda TV. My name is Tete Adi. If you have not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe to the path because we are going to give you more of such great content. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where a high military court has sentenced the former president, who is in the name of Joseph Kabila to a death sentence. The sentence happened in the capital, Kinshasa, on 30th of September 2025 in absentia, meaning there was no lawyer present to represent Mr. Kabila, and he was not himself present during the trial. Among the counts or charges that were leveled against Mr. Joseph Kabila includes treason or conspiracy to overthrow the government, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. He was also accused of colluding with the famous M23 rebels who has taken over the eastern DRC currently. Let's do a quick background into who Joseph Kabila is. Joseph Kabila is the son of former President Laurent Desire Kabila, who took over power through a coup from Mobutu Sese Seko. Now, let's bring the background into the political terrain and the coup regimes of the DRC so that we get into perspective as to what is going on. Now, during the era of Patrice Lumumba, from 1960, Patrice Lumumba was the prime minister, and they had a president who was also in the name of Joseph Kasavubu. The two sides were always at loggerheads with each other in terms of ideology, how the country is to be run, and so forth. So parliamentary proceedings and so many government operations were in disrepute. So there was a back and forth between Mr. Patrice Lumumba and Joseph Kasavubu, who some say was influenced by Belgian powers during that time. So there was so much chaos in the country, which led to Mr. Mobutu Sese Seko to do a coup to overthrow the regime of the president and the prime minister, who was in the name of Patrice Lumumba. But to make matters worse, when Mr. Mobutu took over power from coup, he handed Patrice Lumumba over to the Belgian government to be persecuted. And so right there, we know Mr. Mobutu has been influenced by the Western powers, including US and the Belgian powers who colonized the DRC. He handed Mr. Lumumba to the powers at that time, the Western powers, the colonial powers at that time, for him to be persecuted. Fast forward, Mr. Mobutu reigned or became the president for DRC for 32 years, ruling with iron hands. He went ahead, he went further to change the name of the DRC to Zaire during his time. So fast forward into 1997, the father of Joseph Kabila, who is in the person of Mr. Laurent Desire Kabila, overthrew the government of Mobutu. The forces that he brought together to fight the Mobutu government has his son, Joseph Kabila, fighting alongside. And Joseph Kabila did most of his life in Tanzania, where he was in the military camps, learned his military so much into military, and later part of his life was spent in China. 2000 and 2001, his father, Mr. Laurent Desire Kabila, was assassinated. After the assassination, January 2001, his son, Joseph Kabila, was sworn in as president. He also ruled the DRC for 18 years, from 2001 to 2019. He was scheduled for 2 terms, and which he handed power in 2019. But there was a back and forth between his government and the people. He was accused of being corrupt, being authoritarian. Western observers had to come down to also talk to him. He was criticized left, right, center because people see that he wanted to cling to power. So eventually, 2019, he handed over power to Felix Tshisekedi, the current president, through an election, which it wasn't part because he was not fit to run. So election was done after he stepped down. Tshisekedi won and became the president of the DRC. It was estimated that between 3 to 5 million people lost their life under his regime through war, civil unrest, and so forth. So for some of the war crimes and the loss of lives and all the mishappenings in his regime. That is why all those charges was leveled against him after he stepped down, because he had immunity during his reign. And the parliament of the DRC went to overturn the immunity on Joseph Kabila in order for him to be able to brought forth to be persecuted by the court.
Lawyer Richard Bondo hailed the result as a victory for the country.
We are satisfied because justice has been served. So, the justice rendered in the name of the Congolese people gives satisfaction to these people. Given that the defendant, Kabila, mastermind of all rebel movements, all insurgents, and all Rwandan aggression, he, as the mastermind, has just been sentenced to capital punishment.
Some residents of Congo's rebel-occupied eastern city of Bukavu did not share that sentiment. This resident pointed out that the trial had cost the public millions and questioned whether Kabila's conviction would truly bring an end to the conflict in eastern parts of the country.
People are speculating this as a witch hunt. Others are saying it has Western influence, because recently it was in the news that the president, Felix Tshisekedi, has invited the Western powers, including the US, to help them protect the country and the resources against the rebels M23. So people are speculating that this is part of a Western influence to dominate the DRC and control their resources. Because it was said that the negotiation between the president and the US was such that the US has to protect the DRC and its resources against rebel groups such as the M23. And in return, the US could have power and some rights over certain mineral resources of the DRC. So people are saying all this is part of the game in order to further control the resources of DRC. But the man in question has also committed so many crimes in his era, as the court said. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where we draw the curtains on this topic. Subscribe and be part of this wonderful family. And stay tuned, because we have more content coming.